Good day, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of PSC Women in Sports Rise Up, Shape Up. This is Chinky Austria, your host for today's show. It's already been 7 months into the community quarantine, and I'd like to check in on everyone. How you guys are feeling? The past months actually have been difficult for me and for the most of us. I mean, don't you guys agree? I personally miss going out with family and friends. How about you? What activities do you miss doing? Has any of you taken a more active living or slowed down to take a much needed rest? Right now, it's really important to take care of ourselves physically, mentally, and emotionally. To share with us a few inspiring words is the head of Philippine Sports Commission himself, Chairman William I. Ramirez.
The Philippine Sports Commission has made great strides in advancing women's participation and leadership in Philippine sports. Our women athletes have represented the Philippines to the Olympics as early as 1956, and a great number of them have made remarkable performance in international competitions through the years. While we are yet to catch that elusive gold, it was a woman who broke a two-decade of thirst for a medal in the Olympic Games with a silver in back in 2016. The Philippine Sports Commission will continue to build a strong sporting culture among the over 50 million women and girls across the country. We shall continue to strengthen programs for the participation of women and girls in sports, play, and physical activities as a means to develop character, personality, and positive outlook in life. Rise up, shape up. The Philippine Sports Commission is offering you this vibrant and virtual platform to connect with each other, to exchange ideas on sports, fitness, and wellness, and to jumpstart a new sporting culture that will lay the foundation of a holistic development of a new generation of Filipino women athletes.
Thank you, Chairman Ramirez, for your message. Now we would like to hear from Commissioner Salya H. Hiram, who is in charge of women in sports.
Good morning, everyone. PSC Women Sports Rise Up, Shape Up is a weekly show that will feature interesting, educational, entertaining, and informative topics. Today's episode will be about mindful lifestyle for active women. It will discuss practical tips in restoring calm and balance amidst this pandemic.
Thank you, Commissioner Kiram. Now let's take a quick icebreaker. Here's our poll question. With all the extra time we have since the quarantine began, how often do you exercise? A, daily. B, around 2 to 3 times a week. C, once a week. D, stayed sedentary. We'll give you a few seconds to vote before we introduce our next speaker. Now we're just waiting for the answers of our poll question. So you guys, to all of my audience, I would like to ask, how do you guys actually work out now that the pandemic is happening? I mean, me personally, sometimes I don't. Yeah, okay, so we're just waiting, of course, for all of our audience to answer. We are so excited for the Rise Up Shape Up right now because, of course, this is an initiative of the Women in Sports of Philippine Sports Commission, and we have a lot of speakers in store for everyone. Now, just for the answers, we're still waiting for them, but of course, we're all very excited to know the percentage on how many people are actually working out this quarantine. We also have some celebrity speakers, sports enthusiasts, of course, who would be talking later, and we're very excited for that. Of course, we would like to thank Commissioner Kiram for that wonderful message. And we still have a lot of things in store for everyone. We still have actually a few polls later that a lot of people, of course, our audience would answer. And we also have a surprise from Pocari Sweat. So to everyone who's actually watching, please just stay until the end of the show. Okay, so now we're getting the answers. We're just waiting for them to load, of course, on your screens. Okay, so I'll just repeat the question for everyone. With the extra time we have since the quarantine began, how often do you exercise? A, daily. B, around 2 to 3 times a week. C, once a week. Or D, stayed sedentary. So, of course, we're still waiting for all of our audience to come and answer the poll question that we just gave. Okay, so let's skip for that now, and we're just, I mean, I do think that a lot of you answered and, of course, are very active when it comes to your workout. So it's good to know that some of you found time to exercise during the quarantine. Now let's deep dive into this mind and body connection. Representing the Psychological Association of the Philippines, Dr. Maria Luisa Guinto is an associate professor and research director of the College of Human Kinetics, UP Diliman. She is a founding member of the Association of Sport and Exercise Psychology of the Philippines and treasurer of the Asian South Pacific Association of Sport Psychology, a member of the Women in Sports Commission of the Philippine Olympic Committee, and serves as executive board member of the International Association of PE and Sports for Girls and Women. Let us all welcome Dr. Marissa Guinto.
Just ask all of you during this during this pandemic, what were the things that you missed most about your pre-lockdown or pre-quarantine life? Okay, think about that. However, now that we are here, what are the things that we appreciate most being in quarantine? Okay, Chinky, I think mentioned that earlier in terms of what were the things that we were doing before that we liked most. Okay, so let's keep that in our minds as we begin our discussion, because surely these things that we miss are also part of how we feel right now. Okay, moving on. Okay, I'd like also to ask all of us, what are some of the emotions or feelings that were most that were strongest that we have been feeling during this lockdown, because all of these feelings and all of these emotions are actually legitimate because we are going through very, very difficult times. And some of these feelings, okay, might be very uncomfortable to us because we are not used to them. Okay, so for example, the things that we used to enjoy, we are no longer enjoying. We don't feel as energetic as we used to. Okay, we don't feel as productive as we used to, and we're kind of disappointed with ourselves, or we overeat or undereat. And I know this is a problem for many of us because we can actually be gaining weight and we don't like it and we're not happy with ourselves. Or sometimes we sleep too much, or we don't sleep at all, or we have disturbed sleep. So all of these are really legitimate because these are normal reactions to an abnormal situation. And to acknowledge that is the first step for us to really get well and to take care of ourselves. Okay, so as we move on, okay, I'd like us to also realize that this feeling that we have, this experience that we have is really likened to a loss. Okay? Para tayong sinasabi nila nagluluksa. Ano yung pinagluluksa natin? Yung dating buhay natin. Okay? Para tayong nawalan. While some of us have literally lost a loved one, okay, most of us really lost our former lives, the activities we used to enjoy, and also the life that we used to have, the predictability of things that we used to have, okay, the routines that we used to enjoy. All of these things we are no longer experiencing at the moment. And we feel awful about it. And that is normal, okay? We need to acknowledge that these abnormal feelings and abnormal reactions are really normal. And so how do we explain this, no? Now, I'd like to borrow from the, what do you call this, from the framework of Kubler-Ross and Kessler, who talked about the different stages of grief. Okay? Sabi ni Kubler-Ross and Kessler na pag tayo ay may pagbabago sa buhay natin o kaya may biglang nangyayari, kunyari injury or sickness, dumadaan tayo dito sa proseso ng pagluluksa. Okay? So sabi ng mga psychologists, mabuting unawain natin to kasi parang ganito yung nararamdaman natin. No? Ito yung stages of grief nga na sinasabi ko. Alright? So ano to, no? So sa panguna, meron tayong shock and denial, no? Parang hindi tayo makapaniwala na itong, what we call this, itong nararamdaman natin ngayon ay nangyayari nga, no? So karamihan sa atin ay siguro sa denial natin nung simula, no, hindi mangyayari yan sa atin, no? Sa China lang yan. Pero nung nakarating na dito sa Pilipinas, medyo nagagalit na tayo kasi yung buhay natin nga, no, naabala. Pero habang tumatagal, medyo nagbabargain tayo, sabi natin sa sarili natin siguro na, o sige, pag ginawa natin itong physical distancing na to, ay maaaring bumuti ang ating kalagayan, no? Pero mukhang hindi. May mga namamatayan pa at may nawalan ng trabaho. Nakaka-depress to. So talagang bababa talaga yung pakiramdam natin. At habang sa katagalan at medyo nakikita natin na talagang hindi pwedeng magtagal ng ganito, ay nandun yung acceptance, no? Yung pagtanggap. At sa kaduluduluhan, syempre mas maganda yung nakikita natin yung kahalagahan at yung meaning na sinasabi. Pero hindi ibig sabihin na pag nandun na tayo sa dulo, hindi na tayo babalik, no? Kasi maaaring natanggap na natin pero biglang meron tayong namatayan na kamag-anak o kaibigan, babalik na naman tayo. So, nandun talaga yung parang roller coaster, no, ng emotions. So, anong gagawin natin dito? Paano natin sisimulan ang ginhawa sa sarili? So, nais ko ipakita sa inyo itong iba't ibang paraan upang alagaan ang ating sarili. Okay, yung tinatawag nating self-care, no? Na isa dito ay talagang physical activity, no? Pero hindi siya isolated sa iba. So, ano tong mga iba't ibang mga paraan, no? So, syempre yung tulog natin, kailangan nating ayusin, no? Kailangan na kung ano yung dati nating oras na pagtulog at pagising, medyo ayusin natin, no? Kaya importante din yung daily routine natin. Kailangan natin magkaroon ng routine, no? Hindi pwedeng nung simula para tayo nakapajama maghapon at para tayong nasa extended holiday or staycation. Hindi pwede yon, no? So kung maaga tayo nagigising para mag-aral or magtrabaho, sundan din natin yan. At kailangan yung ating kinakain ay kailangan healthy, no? At iwasan natin ang junk food. And kailangan din ay connected tayo sa ating mga kamag-anak at kaibigan. Pero syempre, dahil ang ginagamit natin sa connection ay social media, kailangan regulated din ang ating paggamit ng social media kasi kung masasobrahan tayo, nakaka-trigger din yan ng hindi magandang pakiramdam, lalo na kung ay panay news at fake news pa ang nababasa natin. So, kailangan din natin tinatawag na mindfulness, no? Pag-uusapan nga ng ating resource person mamaya kung paano natin ito gagawin sa pagkilos. Pero ang ibig sabihin nito ay talagang pinag-iisipan natin yung ating ginagawa at hinahayaan natin unti-unti nating maayos, no, yung ating buhay. At hindi rin natin maaalis yung yung sense of humor, no? Kailangan hindi na mawala tayo dito. Tayong mga Pinoy, kilalang-kilala dyan. Kung kailan humihirap ang buhay, mas maraming mga biro at jokes na talagang pino-forward pa natin sa Facebook, no? So, okay yan, no? Tapos, hindi dapat mawala yung ating sense of gratitude na marunong pa rin tayong tumingin sa kabutihan sa buhay. At yung tinatawag natin na talagang pananalig sa Diyos, no? Kailangan din natin yan. So, pag pinag-usapan natin yung physical activity, no, hindi naman kailangan mag-workout ka sa gym dahil sarado ang gym, no? Kung hindi ka naman atleta, pwede ka magsimula. Ang importante dito, physical activity, no? Ibig sabihin, yung ginagawa natin pangkaraniwan sa araw-araw, gawin nating very, kumbaga, regular, no? At saka intentional. At hindi kailangan one time, big time sa umaga. Kailangan ito ay nakadistribute sa buong araw para ma-break yung ating sedentary behavior, no? Karamihan sa ating halimbawa, nag-online lesson o kaya nagtuturo o lahat ng ginagawa natin may kinalaman sa Zoom o kaya sa sa social media. Kung tayo ay nakikipag-usap sa kaibigan, mano ba naman tumayo tayo at maglakad habang nakikipag-usap? Okay? O kaya gumagawa tayo ng mga household chores, gardening. Okay, so kailangan tayong kumilos in a very intentional way kasi yung pagkilos natin, natutulungan din yung pag-iisip natin. Sabi nga nila, yung emotion needs motion. Okay? Kailangan natin igalaw, lalo na kung tayo ay mababa o masama ang ating pakiramdam. Okay, so mamaya bibigyan din tayo ng ating susunod na resource person ng example, no, ng tinatawag na mindful movement at saka na pwede natin gawin sa bahay. So ang importante, regular, okay, at kailangan sinasadya. Kung pwede, bawat oras ay gumalaw, tumayo sa kinauupuan at kung may kausap sa telepono, pwedeng tumayo. Ako, yung aking online learning at saka yung online teaching ko, nakatayo ako, nilalagay ko ang laptop ko sa taas ng piano para ako ay nakatayo. Okay? Hindi pwedeng nakaupo dahil hindi yan healthy. Okay, so sa kaibuturan nito ay kailangan natin alagaan ang ating sarili. Hindi natin mapapalitan ang ating kapaligiran. Nandyan ang COVID. Pero kailangan natin alagaan ang ating sarili at ito ay isang bagay na hindi natin dapat ikahiya, no? Kasi yung tinatawag natin na self-care, okay, nandito na tayo ngayon sa self-care, ay pangangalaga ng sarili. Hindi ibig sabihin na ako ang uunahin ko, lalo na kung may pamilya ko, pero ako rin. Aalagaan ko rin ang sarili ko, hindi lang yung ibang tao, no? Sa ating kultura, parang masamang pakinggan yung unahin ko yung sarili ko. Hindi yan ang ating sinasabi, pero isali natin ang sarili natin sa pangangalaga. Okay? So, habang ginagawa natin to, kailangan natin maunawaan na ang bagong normal ngayon ay hindi lang yung pagsosuot ng face mask, alright? O kaya ng face shield o ng tinatawag nating physical distance. Kailangan nating isama, okay, ang physical activity, no? Kasi sabi nga ng WHO, no, nakasabay nitong pandemyang ito ay ang pandemya din ng sedentary lifestyle na nakakabit din sa mental health natin. No, ang katawan at ang utak ay iisa. So kailangan igalaw ang ating katawan para itong mga emotions natin na talagang parang feeling natin stuck tayo, no, na depressed o mababa ang feeling natin o sobrang anxious tayo. Igalaw natin 'to. Okay, kasama 'yan. So, ang sinasabi ko ay isama natin ang physical activity sa health practices natin, no, sa pagsuot ng mask, face shield, paghugas ng kamay at paggalaw. Magkasama po 'to. Kailangan natin igalaw ang ating katawan para tayo ay maging malusog at may panlaban tayo sa COVID. So, yan po, no, yan po ang ating sinasabi dito sa ating ngayong workshop, no, na kailangan nating gawin para sa ating sarili, para tayo ay maging malusog sa katawan at sa pag-iisip, no? So, siguro meron tayong mga katanungan dito na maaari natin din pag-usapan, no? So, okay naman na kung may mga tanong, Ms. Chinky at Comcelia, may mga nagpadala ba ng mga katanungan sa atin?
Wow, emotion needs emotion. Such an insightful discussion po, Dr. Guinto. We are now, of course, inviting our audience to send in their questions in the comment section. Commissioner Kiram will now join Dr. Guinto for a short Q&A.
Hi, Dr. Guinto. Thank you for being with us today. We have some questions here from our audience. From April Hirona. Ang katanungan niya is how to maintain the energy of a PE teacher or sports coach.
All right. So, katulad nga nung nabanggit ko kanina, no, self-care muna. Okay? Katulad nga nung nararanasan natin pag nasa eroplano tayo, di ba sinasabihan tayo na put your mask, oxygen mask first before helping a child or someone beside you. So, nung ginawa siguro ito, hindi nila naisip ang implication, no? Pero sa mga carers, katulad natin, no? Teachers, coaches, magulang, okay? Pag meron kayong inaalagaan na iba, kailangan pangalagaan muna natin ang sarili natin. Kung hindi natin mabibigyan ng tapat at tamang pangangalaga ang iba. We cannot pour out anything from an empty cup. Kung tayo ay low-bat, hindi rin tayo pwede magbigay ng energy sa iba. So, pangalagaan natin ang sarili natin, hindi dahil inuuna natin ang sarili natin, pero sinasama natin ang sarili natin sa pangangalaga.
Thank you for that answer. Our next question is from Natasha Bettina Lasso. How to handle environmental stress?
Okay. So tulad nga ng nabanggit ko kanina, no, ang hirap kasi wala tayong control, no, sa mga pangyayari sa labas natin, no. Ang COVID, yung virus na yan, hindi pa nga natin nakikita yung reaction ng gobyerno, yung reaction ng ibang tao, kung may namamatayan, di ba? Hindi natin makukontrol yan. Kaya nga ang sinasabi natin lagi is control the controllables, no? At ano to? Ang makukontrol lang talaga natin ay yung ating pag-iisip at yung paggalaw ng katawan natin. Kaya nga sinasabi natin dito sa session na to na kung nais natin bumuti ang ating pag-iisip, okay, ang ating mental health, kailangan natin igalaw ang ating katawan kasi hindi magkahiwalay. No, yan ay nasa loob ng ating control, no? Environmental factors, hindi natin magagawan ng pagbabago yan, lalo na naka-lockdown tayo, nasa loob tayo ng bahay. So, ang magagawa lang natin is igalaw ang katawan, ayusin ang pag-iisip, alagaan ang sarili, at ilagaan din ang mga kasama natin sa bahay.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Kiram and Dr. Guinto. Truly, there is some more to learn about combining intent with action. With that, let's welcome our next speaker, Ms. Eileen Tupaz, as she talks about mindful movement. Ms. Tupaz is actually the co-founder of White Space Mind and Body Wellness Studio. She is a yoga and meditation teacher trainer and holds a master's degree in philosophy from Ateneo de Manila University. Miss Tupaz combines a decade-old mindfulness practice rooted in Vipassana, yoga, and Zen. She is also a student of world-renowned meditation teachers, Dr. Tara Brack and Dr. Jack Cornfield. I am glad to present to you Miss Eileen Tupaz.
Privileged to be able to share what I've learned from my teachers with all of you. And so I'll be leading a short segment on mindful movement. Just to be conservative, I'm going to assume that the majority of you who are listening in will be new to this or not very familiar with this. And so I'll just take a couple of minutes to explain what you're in for. And so mindful movement is truly a designation that refers to a class of disciplines that involve integrating the attitude of mindfulness with physical movements, okay, the movements of the body. And again, just to be Dr. Guinto already referred to it earlier, but if you're not quite sure what it is, I'll just explain using the definition that was provided by Jon Kabat-Zinn, who's the founder of mindfulness-based stress reduction. Attention. Way. It's just that mindfulness is a way of paying attention that is marked by 3 characteristics. Okay, so the first thing is when we're mindful, we're paying attention on purpose. There's an intentionality to it. There is a deliberateness to it. We're not just letting our attention get hijacked by any distraction in the environment. The second feature of mindfulness is that it involves paying attention to what's unfolding in the present moment. So rather than getting lost in thoughts of the past or thoughts of the future, we're focusing our awareness on what's happening right now. Okay? What's happening right now, and right now, and right now, moment to moment to moment. And then the third and final characteristic of mindfulness is that the quality of the attention is non-judgmental, or to say it in more positive terms, it's warm, it's receptive, it's accepting, it's kind, and it's curious. And so that's it. So when we're being mindful, we're just paying attention on purpose to something that's happening right now, and in a way that's receptive and accepting, and in a manner that just is welcoming the present experience. So whatever it is that's showing up in our experience, we let it be as it is. And so when we're doing mindful movements, we're marrying that kind of attention to the physical movements of the body. Now, many of you will be familiar with some of the most popular mindful movement practices that are done in the world today. The most popular of which would be yoga. Okay. The other really popular mindfulness-based discipline would be Tai Chi. So this is something that is not as strange to us as we may believe. Okay. Now, having said that, I'd like to manage your expectations because this is a dedicated mindful movement exercise. And so even if yoga and Tai Chi fall under the same umbrella, there's still a difference in terms of what's emphasized in these techniques. And so in a formal mindful movement practice, which is what we're going to be exploring, the overwhelming highlight will be the mindfulness piece. Okay, so not so much the movement piece. And so if you're looking for something that's going to make you break out into a sweat and tone your biceps or stretch your hamstrings, that's not quite what we're getting into. And so we're going to be foregrounding the mindfulness component. The movement is just a means to an end. So when we do a formal mindful movement practice, it is much closer in feel, in tonality, in objective to a formal meditation practice. So the movement is subordinate to that objective. So when we're going to do the movements shortly, the movements are in service to, number one, learning how to focus and to concentrate the mind. Okay? So the slow motion movements, we're not doing the movements for the sake of getting fit. We're doing it to learn how to focus and concentrate the mind. Second, we're using the slow motion movements to generate a sense of calm and serenity, which I think we could all use. And then the third and final objective is that we're using our focus on the bodily movements to start generating a felt sense of the body, a hypersensitivity to what's going on here. Because most of us, as we've dealt with COVID, we've kind of lived in our heads. So we're in our heads most of the time. And so when we practice mindful movements, we slowly return to the physical body. Okay? So I just want to say that up front so that those of you who are looking for like a 10-minute HIIT segment, that's not what we're getting into. Okay? So after we do the exercise, I'm going to spend some time explaining why this is helpful, not just if you want a soft introduction to formal meditation, but why it's also useful if you're looking at starting or restarting a fitness regimen. Okay, so it can be used to that effect as well. So, all right. So let's start first by just sitting in a way that allows us to embody the qualities of dignity and ease. So you can be sitting on a chair, you can be sitting on the floor, it doesn't really matter, but just feel the connection between your sitting bones and the surface that's supporting you. And just allow yourselves to grow tall. And just noticing how the collarbones widen, there's a faint tightening between the shoulder blades, and how it's just easier to breathe when we sit in this manner. If there's any pinching sensation in your lower back, you can round the lower back ever so slightly. And so we're finding a middle ground between that sense of uprightness and alertness, and also relaxation and space. And then just allow your chin to be parallel to the floor. You can soften your gaze as if you're just letting the light enter your eyes, or you can close your eyes altogether. Now, just bring your hands up like this, and just feel what's going on in your hands. And this is where closing your eyes might be helpful, because the visual faculty tends to be extraordinarily distracting. And if you pay attention, you'll start noticing that your hands always have sensation. For me right now, there's a faint tingling, buzzy sensation, feelings of heat in the palms and in the fingertips. Now, if you're not feeling it, it's okay. If you're new to this, it might take a while to develop that sensitivity. So you're not flunking anything if you can't feel it right away. But if you can feel it, this is what I'd like you to focus on for the rest of our exercise. Focus on the sensations in the hands, along the arms, and this is what we're going to be tracking. And just bring your arms out to the sides. And then we're going to slowly move our arms up over our heads. And I want you to do it slowly. How slowly? Well, pretend someone's watching you. And it's like they can't notice you moving. That's how slow it is. Okay? And so let's start. Paying most of your attention to the sensations in your hands. Just begin to slowly lift your arms up over your heads. And remember, it's not about the movement per se. Yes, you're moving your arms, but don't worry about whether you're doing it right, if you're looking graceful. Focus on how it feels. Notice the micro sensations as your arms gently float up through the air. And you'll notice that the quality of the sensations change. There might be a bit of pulsing. There might be a bit of vibration. The sense of heat might increase. If you're going a little faster than me, it's not a problem. If you're going a little slower than me, it's not a problem either. And you can even pay attention to what's going on in the rest of your body. Some of you might have started noticing already, this is much harder than it looks. There might be a sensation of discomfort already in your upper arms or in the tops of your shoulders. Now, if there's intense discomfort or pain, then by all means, bring your arms down. So our objective here is to alleviate your suffering, not to intensify it. Okay. So don't worry if you need to rest. Rest whenever you need to. But keep tracking sensations. And if you'd like, you can even notice what thoughts you have when discomfort arises. Because that's the other thing we notice in mindfulness. We begin to notice our thoughts in relationship to reality. And if your hands are finally over your shoulders, just pause there for a moment. And what changes in your experience when you stop? Okay. And then let's just slowly turn the palms out. And then slowly, slowly begin to float the hands down. How does it feel different compared to bringing it up? What changes? And again, if you're starting to feel some strain, just bring your hands down. I don't know if they told you this is not an Olympic event. So we're not going to be giving prizes for whoever moves the slowest. Okay? So as Dr. Guinto said, self-care. If what's wise is to rest your arms, go ahead and do that. It's not a problem. But if you're still moving your arms, focus on the sensations, focus on how it feels. And if you've already brought your hands down, you can slightly rest them on your lap. And just notice, keep noticing. Noticing if there's more heat in the body. Notice what happens to the pulsing and tingling sensations. Okay. And so let's do that maybe 2 to 3 times. Move at your own pace and feel free to close your eyes. Okay. Closing the eyes makes it so much easier to pay attention. So again, remember, we're not doing this so that we can tone our musculature. We're not doing this so that we can improve our flexibility. We're doing this as a method of slowly learning what it means to be mindful. So we're just paying attention on purpose to our slow motion movements. And we're paying attention to our movements now, because we're moving now. So we're not remembering how we moved a minute ago. We're not anticipating how we're going to move later. We're focusing on what's happening now. And we're doing it with a warm, open-hearted, open-minded receptivity. So letting go of the judgments, letting go of judging how you're doing, letting go of your judgment of the exercise. Okay, just let go. Just enjoy the sense of moving for the sake of moving. No other agenda. And then if your arms are already up, turn the palms out. And just slowly float the hands down. Those of you who do Tai Chi, this will be familiar. Okay. And for those of you who do Tai Chi, that pulsing, tingling sensation, you know what it is. It's the flow of the Qi. The flow of the Qi through your meridians. And moving, moving. And then let's just do that one final time. Okay. And so, if you're just kind of reflecting on what we're doing, it's not the most glamorous thing in the world. Okay? It's not going to get us any gold medals. But there's such a gift in just being able to do something so simply and to savor it. Not trying to get somewhere, not trying to rush somewhere. But really, it's an invitation to cultivate, to reawaken that sense of joy and freshness and wonder that we had as children, when we could just do things for their own sake. Okay? And so just enjoying the miracle of having a body. Okay? Just enjoying the miracle of having limbs that can move in space. And just being grateful that even in this very trying circumstances, we still have the resources to explore these strategies, these approaches, these techniques that allow us to take better care of ourselves and to take better care of others. And slowly, only if you'd like, you can put your hands together. And then you can just rest them on your belly, symbolically returning the energy. Something I learned from my Tai Chi teacher. And that's the end of the exercise. And so, if you were doing this with my teachers, you would be doing this for the next 45 minutes. Just bringing your arms up and down for 45 to 60 minutes, right? And that's really because, as I was saying, this is a soft introduction that's often used to explore formal meditation. For many people, formal meditation is intimidating. From zero, you suddenly start sitting still for 15, 20, 30 minutes. And for a lot of people, that just doesn't work. It turns them off. And so mindful movement can be a beautiful and accessible way of kickstarting a contemplative practice, because there's still something tangible that you're focusing on compared to something more subtle like the breath or sounds. Okay. Now, I did promise to explain why this is also helpful if your explicit interest is not meditation, but fitness. And it's useful in two ways. Okay. First of all, cultivating this felt sense of the body, this hyper awareness of what's going on, is really massively helpful in injury prevention, especially during this time when we don't really have the benefit of supervision from fitness trainers. Okay, so we're doing things on our own, we're looking things up on YouTube, and we're doing whatever. And so in those circumstances, it's really easy to hurt ourselves, to pull a muscle, to throw our backs. And so when we have this hypersensitivity to what's going on in our body, we know when to stop. We know when we're just about to go past our edge. We know when it's going to be a bad idea. Okay, so it's useful to have this as an adjunctive practice for injury prevention. The other benefit of it is, if you're already an athlete, injury prevention is easy for you. You can look at it from the standpoint of optimum performance, because when you have, again, that hypersensitivity, you know how much further you can push the envelope. Okay. And there's also the mental component, that heightened focus, that heightened concentration is eminently useful in sports or in any kind of weight training, or if you have any kind of fitness goals, so to speak. So whether you're doing this to jumpstart a meditation practice, or whether you're doing it to jumpstart or enhance a fitness regimen, it certainly has a valuable contribution to make in both those domains. And so I'm going to pause here right now, because I believe that there are questions from those of you who are watching.
Thank you, Ms. Tupaz, for sharing that practice with us. We do have a time for some questions from our audience, so I'd like to invite back Commissioner Kiram for this question and answer.
Hi, Eileen. Thank you for sharing those practices. I was able to do it, right? I have actually a personal question. While doing the mindful movement practice, I'm getting distracted. What can I do to focus more on this?
That's a beautiful question. And it's something that also comes up a lot when people explore meditation, which is the mind keeps wandering. And so what I'd like to say to that, and Dr. Guinto also did this earlier, is to normalize that experience. Because people who are new to these practices tend to think that they're failing, or they're not doing it right, or they're just not meant to do these things because they keep getting distracted. And so my first answer is, and this comes from neuroscience, the mind is literally designed to wander. So within 8 to 10 seconds of not devoting your mind to something, it will slip into what's known as the default mode, which is what scientists refer to as mind wandering and time traveling. So really just recognizing that this is part of the hardware. We're not flunking, we're not doing it wrong if we get distracted and if we have difficulties focusing. So in terms of contemplative practice, in terms of mindfulness practice, when we get distracted, the instruction is to simply don't stress, it's okay, and just return your attention to whatever it is that you're focusing on. So if you're doing a mindful movement practice and you got distracted, you started thinking about lunch, you started thinking about dinner, you started thinking about a PowerPoint, the moment you notice that your mind has wandered, just very gently set it aside and return your attention to the movement. And just be prepared to do this every 8 to 10 seconds. Okay? So I hope that answered your question, Commissioner.
Yeah, thank you for that answer. Another one is from our viewer. Gaano katagal dapat ang mindful exercise sa isang tao na busy katulad ko?
It really depends on what your intention is. There are no hard and fast rules. So if you'd like to cultivate a bit more equanimity, a bit more peace of mind, and you're dealing with a lot, sometimes you might need to practice for a little longer to start getting that sense of calm. But if you're really hard pressed, then just do it when there's an emergency. So for instance, when you're experiencing an anxiety attack, or you've really hit the end of your rope, you're about to scream your head off, you can literally just pause in that moment and then maybe bring your arms up really slowly and then slowly bring your arms down. Of course, I wouldn't suggest doing that in public. But practice, and you need to. So when you find that your back is against the wall, your blood pressure is rising, your blood is boiling, take a few moments, focus on the breath. And then if you really have a little bit of time, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, do the practice, set aside some dedicated time frame. Now, how long? Science says 12 minutes minimum, 8 weeks, you'll start changing your brain. But for me, I'm a lot more flexible than that. I tell people, look, start with 1 minute a day until that gets easy, and then expand it to 2 minutes. You can slowly build your way up to 12 minutes or 15 minutes. Okay? Pick whatever is workable given the demands of your life. Don't be too ambitious. So if you're looking at starting a 20-minute practice tomorrow and you've never done it, that's setting yourself up for a failure. So aim for 1 minute, okay, and then just slowly build from there.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Kiram and Ms. Tupaz. I'm actually learning a lot from this. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. I hope that a lot of our viewers were able to do the exercise. It's really nice to know that sometimes our mind goes into default mode, so it's very important to just focus on yourself and of course just focus on the way you're breathing. So those are a lot of helpful tips for our viewers, and I know that a lot of you are enjoying so much. I mean, me personally, I am learning so much from our web series. Only to think that this is our first episode. I know that we have a lot more things to actually expect in the future. And of course, we couldn't wait for the rest of our speakers, especially that they are some of the most famous or well-known in actually what they're doing. And I'm actually very, very excited for that. So I hope that all of our viewers are very excited. We learned a lot from them. So give us a heart if you are loving these discussions. Now, after hearing from our experts, two celebrity athletes will be sharing their personal experience on dealing with the pandemic. We are now excited to have with us the first Asian woman to sit as an elected member of the executive board of the International Olympics Committee. She once served as IOC representative to the Philippines, an Asian Games gold medalist. She is currently the president of the Equestrian Association of the Philippines. Let us all welcome Ms. Mikee Cojuangco-Jaworski.
Hi, Mikey.
Ma'am
Good
Celia,
morning.
good morning po. Thank you so much for inviting me this morning. Kasi pareho kami ni Chinky. Ang dami na naming natutunan from Dr. Guinto and from Miss Eileen. So thank you to them also for sharing their expertise and their wisdoms.
Yeah, ako nga sumakit yung balikat ko eh. So I learned a lot from that exercise. Okay. Hi, first of all, congratulations for the first woman, na nasa executive board ng prestigious International Olympic Committee. Ikaw
Thank
lang
you
ang
po.
nakakaiba, no? And also, congratulations. I heard that you are now the president of the Philippine Equestrian Association.
Yes po. Although medyo frustrating po yung pagiging president ko ng EAP kasi na-elect po ako March 11 and then we went into lockdown March 16.
Yeah.
So that was it's a bit frustrating, and everything, all the challenges that were described earlier by Dr. Guinto and by Miss Eileen, parang pakiramdam ko na pagdaanan ko na rin po yun since the start of the lockdown. Everything that's been mentioned, even to have a very strange journey of fitness to non-fitness to yung lahat po nun na parang pinagdadaanan ko ngayon. Hindi pa tapos. The challenge still exists. So it's really helpful to be part of this today because it's not just in sharing that we learn, but we also learn from each other. So sabi ko nga po kanina nung nakikinig ako na dumaan ako sa stage na parang hyper fitness effort. So I was feeling more fit than I ever was since I retired from competitive sport. Tapos nawala yon, nawala. And it's really a challenge to stay motivated. I had a meeting recently with the members of the board of our federation, and we had asked some of the coaches kung ano ba yung nagiging challenge nyo. And really at this stage, it's for those that are still able to practice their sport, it's really a mental challenge because if you're continuing to work at your sport, some athletes are thinking, ano ba yung pinaghihirapan ko? Ano ba tong pinagtatrabahuan ko na hindi pa natin nakikita kung ano ba ang magiging reason for us to keep working very hard when we're not allowed to have any tournaments and competitions. So, it's difficult also for the athletes. Actually, it's also difficult for the sport administrators to lead our associations and our federations to the direction that we want to go, and to have everybody ready na talaga to kickstart again once we're allowed to do so. Kaya so it's been very helpful because yung mga napag-uusapan natin ngayon, I can see how we can apply it not just to us personally but also in our work and as leaders, and not just leaders in sports but even in our own family. So it's easier said than done.
Yeah, that's true. Ako nga, I lost 7 kilos, right? In this pandemic time,
Wow.
So that's now we're coping up, and I hope we go better by as long as time goes by. Anyway, tell us some more regarding your participation as IOC executive board member, and how it can help the Philippine sports scene. So interested ako doon, lalo na sa kababaihan.
Well, definitely the level of involvement is deeper. Pero pagka tinanong talaga kung ano ba ang trabaho ng isang IOC executive board member, it's really the business of the IOC. So, dati pag tinatanong ako kung ano ba yon, nag-iisip ako what's the best way to describe it. But basically, it means that I'm part of even the corporation, which is the IOC, as an entity talaga. And of course, a lot of the sporting policies dadaan muna siya sa executive board before we pass it on to the session. And as far as how it can benefit Philippine sports, I've always said from the start that my exposure to all the international leaders has been a very big learning experience for me. But at the end of the day, hindi naman makikinabang ang Pilipinas kung hindi ko maibabahagi yung mga natututunan ko when I'm in all of those meetings, when I'm even just having that bit of encounter or exchange with these people who have been successful in what they do. Kaya pag sinasabi yung term na best practices, nakikita ko na ba't siya nagiging cliche, but at the same time, why it's important? Because we have to be able to learn from each other, but more importantly, we have to be able to apply to our own situation kasi hindi naman din formula yon. So, kailangan talaga may exchange of ideas. It can't be done by one person alone or one organization alone. It really has to be a combination of experiences, of knowledge, and how to adapt it to us and how to apply it. So I think it's also the openness of our sports leaders to hear these things. And I think if we have the attitude that any criticism can be constructive, then I think it's gonna help us also to be a lot more positive and to be a lot more willing to really challenge ourselves and explore the possibilities.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very good insights from you, Mikey. So, how are you now navigating the drastic change from an active lifestyle? Alam ko, napaka-aktibo mo, no? To a life in quarantine. So, pwede ba mabigyan mo kami ng tips and give our audience on those things that you're
Parang
doing?
ako po yung nangangailangan ng tips. In the beginning, yung pag-iisip ko po parang, wow, kailangan ko tong, yung napilitan ako na mag-slow down because, it felt like life was going by so fast. I was always, parang wala nang panahon na para sa sarili. Parang ang bilis-bilis, 2018, 2019, 2020, it's like everything was going by so fast. And I really asked myself, ganito na lang ba talaga yung buhay? Parang lahat tayo palaging busy, lahat tayo palaging stressed or may hinahabol or may kailangan gawin. Pero nung nangyari nga yung COVID-19 and we went into lockdown, it felt like, okay, all of us are in the same position and all of us have to just stop. And all of us have to wait. Pero habang tumatagal at nasasanay na rin tayo sa ganito, it's a new challenge again to see how we can be more productive, how we can take care of ourselves in this new kind of environment. And in the beginning, yung mental state ko was, okay, we'll wait this out. Let's see, maybe 3 months, 4 months, tapos, we'll be a bit more back to normal. But now, normal is not the same as it was before. And I think we have to find ourselves in this normal. And parang mas busy pa ako ngayon kesa dati, except that hindi ako sumasakay sa aeroplano ngayon. So I think it's a journey of self-discovery, and I think it's a time for us to be more mindful, exactly what was being discussed, and more deliberate about what we need, want, are expected to do. So I think we have to go on that journey individually. And I already mentioned best practices earlier. So anything that can be shared I think is a way for us also to see if it applies in our own lives.
Yeah. And that's talagang totoo yun, no? Being a woman and a housewife and a mother, you do everything, attending to the Zoom meetings, so on and so forth,
Actually,
right?
Celia,
Mas
alam
busy,
nyo,
no?
kasi ako hindi naman ako yung nagkaroon talaga ng office na pinupuntahan araw-araw. Kung as an athlete, okay, you train, parang yun na yung pinaka-office. Yun na yung pinaka-office
Right.
mo, di ba? Pero for the side of sport administration, at least on my part, because when I started in sport administration, I was still competing locally. So, all the work that I had to do na hindi physical, sa bahay ko talaga ginagawa. So, yung challenge ng pagiging work at home mother or parent was there for me from the start. Yung wala kang oras, yung kung kailangan ka ng anak mo, iiwan mo yung ginagawa mo, tapos you'll attend to your family. So minsan, nakakapagtrabaho ka na lang pag natutulog na sila, pag tahimik na yung bahay. And I think that's something that a lot of mothers are going through right now. Yung change na yon na parang sobrang flexible, and the excess of flexibility is not always an advantage. So hindi ko pa rin nahanap yung paraan of how I can deal with that. But I think it's also a different kind of situation that mothers and those who are now working at home are now having to experience and find out what's best for them.
Oh, napakagandang sagot yun, no? So, I think as mothers, we have to do those things na talagang flexible tayo sa lahat ng bagay.
Over flexible.
over talaga. So, anyway, there's still this thinking ng tao kasi ikaw talagang, we know that you're so busy. How do you balance your family life, your work life, and still having time for self-care? Sabi nila hanggang ngayon, ang ganda-ganda ni Mikee. Hindi nagbabago.
Celia, mabait kasi yung asawa ko.
That's one
Tsaka
thing.
masarap magluto. I think it's so important to acknowledge what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are, not just as women but also as individuals. So gaya po nun, hindi ko strength magluto, pero strength ng husband ko, and to have a partner who is also very secure in himself na tsaka siguro ayaw niya talaga yung luto ko. But to be able to share the responsibilities is very important for me. It's been a very big blessing in my life. Kasi I'm able to do the things na strengths ko because it's an acknowledgement of each other's strengths and weaknesses and everything that's in between. So I think I won't be able to do the things that I do, or the ambitions or the aspirations. I won't be able to view any of that without also support. Although alam ko naman na hindi lahat may ganong klaseng support. So hats off to all the women who have to work double time to really do that. Pero as far as so of course my husband is a big part in balancing those responsibilities, but also to be able to accept that sometimes your time is not yours. So I think kailangan din natin tanggapin yon. Tsaka kung minsan kailangan natin talaga magtrabaho ng medyo madaling araw na para tahimik na lahat, then we have to do it. So it's like being an athlete. Pag kailangan mong bumangon ng maaga na magte-train ka before ka pumasok sa school para magawa mo yung gusto mong gawin, which is beyond what is viewed by a lot of people as normal, then you just have to do it also.
Yeah. Napakaganda ng sharing mo sa amin, Mikee. So, I think a lot of the women and the girls out there will learn from all these things. So thank you so much, Mikey.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Dimple. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Kiram and Ms. Cojuangco-Jaworski. Again, congratulations on your new spot. It's a privilege to have you here in our first episode.
Thank
So,
you,
okay.
Chinky.
Thank you. Okay, so are you guys ready for our next celebrity athlete? She is another pride of Philippine sports as a renowned volleyball player and member of the Philippine national team, rising to fame for her powerful performance for the Ateneo Lady Eagles. Alyssa Valdez has earned her monikers the Phenom and Queen Eagle. She was a three-time season's MVP, three-time best server, four-time best scorer, and one-time finals MVP. Here, of course, to share first her personal experiences before she goes on a Q&A later with Commissioner Kiram, we have, of course, Miss Alyssa Valdez.
Ni Miss Eileen and Miss Mikee kung ano yung mga pinagdadaanan ngayon. So, ako as an athlete, with all the uncertainties happening now, paano nga ba tayo magsistay physically, psychologically, and socially healthy? So, honestly, it's quite hard because yun nga po, halos lahat ngayon lang natin na ranasan or naharap yung ganitong sitwasyon. Pero, for the past 20 years, I've been playing volleyball. So volleyball defined me as a person. That's why not playing or training for a week or more is something that scares me. Sabi nga po kanina ni Dr. Maria, dadaan tayo sa mga stages ng grief. So for the first few weeks, medyo in denial talaga po ako na pinagdadaanan natin tong pandemic. Kasi I was really thankful and glad in a sense that I was able to make some time off from volleyball. I could spend more time with my family and friends. And I was able to do stuff I was not able to do because I was busy with volleyball and work. Nakakapagluto ako na ngayong quarantine. Nag-try po ako mag-bake. Nakakatulog ako ng late. And nakakapag-movie and marathon series nga ako kasi I can't do that before since our training is at 6 a.m. So, kailangan matulog talaga rin talaga na maaga. However, weeks turned into months. So, I was kind of worried. Feel like I've done enough for myself and I had to go back to reality. But, andito pa rin yung pandemic. So, nung April po, I messaged some of my former teammates and friends from the volleyball community gives back. And we made sure that we could help our frontliners na at risk. So volleyball players have donated their memorabilia to be raffled for the fans. And we've decided to produce PPEs for our frontliners. After donating the PPEs to our frontliners, we've decided naman po na to help naman our referees and our court staff. So we asked naman help from our friends from the entertainment industries like sila celebrities like Catherine Bernardo, Dingtong Dantes, and a lot more. Nagbigay din po sila ng mga memorabilias nila to be raffled also. So we are able to give care packages for 300 referees and court staff. And actually, it's still ongoing. Pag may mga nagdo-donate po, we make sure na dumadating pa rin or nakakaroon kami ng ibang batch para mabigay sa kanila. We held a concert as well, and all proceeds went to the volleyball community. And the volleyball community gives back was my head start actually to move forward. And as a team, I'm part of the Creamline Cool Smashers po. We started training also as early as April pa po. Virtually. Thinking that this too shall pass and we have to be ready once we are called by our management. Tsaka we've been seeing each other every single day. Yun yung normal routine ko po. And ngayon medyo di kami nakikita-kita, so we made sure na virtually we see each other through training. And we've decided to train because we also think that this could help us fight this this virus. And we also had, as a team, we had also game nights and mga kamustahan kasi nga po, ngayon lang namin naranasan din tong quarantine for almost 7 months na. So early stage ng quarantine ko, I was also reliant on social media. I get news from social media, new recipe for my food on social media, things to do on social media, mga workout programs also. Actually, social media helped me in a way to cope and face the new way to get information and updates. And I honestly think that may karamay ako because posts na nakikita ko sa social media is something that I can relate to, and I feel like social media understands me. So medyo na-divert yung focus ko sa ibang bagay. For a while, I was too dependent nga po on social media, but I've realized I had to disconnect and medyo bawasan because I'm greatly influenced by it already. So when I disconnected myself from social media, I tried meditation nga po. My coach from Thailand introduced this to us way back when I was still in college. And every morning and before I sleep, ginagawa ko po siya. I just don't think of anything. I just closed my eyes and really focus on my breathing. So nung college kami, everyday namin to ginagawa before trainings and before games. So sobrang, for me, I thought hindi siya makakatulong, but pag may mga crucial games, it's so easy for me to zone out talaga when I know I meditated. Well, I actually tried also yoga this quarantine. I tried a lot. So meditation and yoga really helped me cope, and I was able to have a positive outlook in life. One thing na sinabi ko, I would make this quarantine or off from volleyball na maging therapy ko siya and recovery kasi since I started playing 20 years ago, ito na po siguro yung pinakamahabang rest na nakuha ko from volleyball. So sabi ko, I'll do something na makaka-help sa akin mag-strengthen ng mga injuries ko and syempre improve my weaknesses. So aside from meditation and yoga, one thing also that helped me through the hard days is reconnecting with my family, my friends, and syempre God po. Honestly, before the pandemic, I rarely go and visit my family because of my schedule kasi nasa Batangas pa rin po sila. And I meet with my friends occasionally lang din po because I would rest instead of going out. I don't spend time with my pets as well kasi nga po lagi rin akong wala sa bahay. And reconnecting with my friends and my family made me realize that I am so blessed. I was actually able to appreciate all the little things talaga po na nakukuha natin or in life. And I would love to think po talaga na this pandemic has brought something meaningful. And I think this was it. This is it. Being able to spend quality time and with my family and my friends. So sabi ko nga po, ang dami ko pong tinatry ngayong quarantine. I actually play golf also. Before I play golf for fun, something na nakakapag-relax po ako pag nasa golf course. But now I had this opportunity na to have proper classes also and to get that fundamentals that I need so I can play it better. So, yun, I spend half of my day sa matutong mag-golf. And then recently, I actually tried boxing as well. Kasi as of now po, since April, nagiging repetitive na yung ginagawa ko. I work out twice a day, do other activities like golf, and then I added nga po boxing para may ilo-look forward pa po ako. I like the challenge, the competition, and since wala pa nga pong volleyball, dito ko muna nilalabas talaga lahat ng competitiveness ko. So I enjoyed it every single day kasi nga po I learned something new. So I tried sports because it is something na hindi ko rin matututunan sa isang araw. I get to stay active, healthy, at the same time I get to learn new skills. So the sports na na-try ko din po this quarantine, more on individual sport talaga siya. Something na different from volleyball. Kaya naman hindi lang ako natututo ng new skills. Nakikilala ko po talaga yung self ko bilang atleta. And now I actually, hopefully nasa acceptance na ako, period po, Miss Dr. Maria. But I accepted the fact na sports is one of those hardly hit by this pandemic po talaga. Kaya naman one thing I learned is to be patient, to live in the moment. Kailangan po nating ma-maximize kung ano yung kaya at pwede natin gawin ngayong pandemic. Maging resourceful and be creative as well. Don't be scared to try new things. Sometimes we unlock our potential when we're being challenged or when we don't have any more options. So, siguro yung tips ko lang po sa ating mga kababaihan or sa mga batang nanonood po sa atin is to explore new things. Lagi nating i-challenge yung sarili natin, keep on challenging ourselves. Yan, sabi nga, kailangan ng self-care. So make time also for yourself. Yan, nakuha ko yan sa pag-yoga ko rin and pag-meditate kasi ako lang po talaga mag-isa na ginagawa yung mga ganong bagay. Yun, set goals also for yourself. Ako, yung goal ko talaga this quarantine hanggat hindi pa po bumabalik ang volleyball is to really learn something like new skills, new set of skills, hindi man sa sport, but kung paano ko gagawin yung mga bagay pagbalik, lalo na yung pag-recover at mga therapy ko sa sarili ko para pagbalik din po ng volleyball, ready akong sumabak sa isang laro. And syempre, don't forget to reconnect and talk to other people, to your family and friends. Honestly, ito yung isa sa mga bagay talagang na-appreciate ko ngayong quarantine. Nagkaroon po ako ng oras and sana maging habit na rin sa ating mga kabataan, sa mga nanonood sa atin na patuloy tayo makipag-usap or huwag tayong mahiyang mag-share sa ating family members or sa ating mga kaibigan. So, yun lang po. Thank you. Thank you so much po.
Okay, now we're heading, of course, to the Q&A. Can we now call on of course, the Commissioner Salya Kiram to be joined by, of course, Miss Alyssa Valdez.
Hi, Alyssa.
Po.
Hello, we're glad to have you here. Maraming salamat, no, sa mga binigay mong insights sa ating mga kababaihan at ating mga kabataan. May mga question dito na pinost sa akin. Dito daw sa time ng COVID ngayon, what activity or routine did you miss the most? And what did you do in exchange of it?
Well, I definitely miss my volleyball trainings and the games. I missed seeing siguro the crowd also and the fans na nag-cheer sa atin lahat. But yun nga po, ginagawa ko ngayon ay focus on myself, really trying to learn new set of skills. Nagtitry po ako ng different sports also para kahit paano malabas ko pa rin yung competitiveness ko, like golf. I tried also tennis and boxing. So, yun po yung pinagkakabalan ko. And syempre, I actually worked out and really do my therapy for my shoulder din. So, yun lang po.
Oo, ang ganda naman ng exchange ng mga namimiss mo, no? So, anyway, ito pa isang question from our audience, from our viewers, no? I mean, as an athlete, how did the pandemic change your athletic training? And is there a pressure to keep your previous athletic training schedule?
What we did po as a team, kasi sabi ko nga po kayo, I'm part of the Cream 9 Cool Smashers. Sanay po kasi kami, our training used to be at 6 a.m. So we always wake up every morning seeing each other's faces. So yun po yung kinasanayan namin. So as of now, we still do that para may sense pa rin po kami ng parang normal pa rin kami. So we still wake up in the morning, twice a day lang naman po, para makita namin yung isa't isa, and we do virtual workout na pinapagawa din sa amin ng mga coaches namin para lang hindi parang may normal pa rin po talaga. Yun talaga yung actually isa sa mga factors kung bakit, isa sa mga reasons kung bakit namin ginagawa yung virtual training namin sa team.
Oh, so still you are the team captain of the team, right? So ito na yung normal ngayon. So, through virtual na lang kayo nagkikita and stay connected. Okay. So, hearing from you, thank you so much, Eliza. And we do hope that our women and youth have picked up your sharing and apply it to them. Kasi ang dami talaga. No? Hindi lang ikaw, pati ako, pati yung mga iba dyan na parang nga, sabi nga ni Dr. Marissa kanina, parang namatayan, parang nag-grief so, sa ating mga usual doing. So with that, so we really thank you for sharing those experiences you have. Maraming salamat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Kiram and Alyssa, for that fun chat. I am learning too much from this episode. How about you guys? What is the most striking thing you picked up from this morning's conversations? Comment them down below, and of course, we would love to hear them. So right now, are you guys ready to win some exciting prizes? Our event sponsor, Pocari Sweat, will be giving away several treats. All you have to do is fill in the missing letters, then comment down your answers. The first one to type in the correct word wins. And here is our first word. So, of course, we will just wait for our audience to go and type in their answers. Again, those who would guess it right would win a treat from Pocari Sweat. So come on, guys, to all of our viewers, comment it down. So right now it's flashed on your screens. We are just waiting to know who is our winner. Okay, we're just waiting for a confirmation from our team. Wow, we're seeing a lot of people now. Okay, the first winner is Joanne Coelho Gesmundo. Again, Miss Joanne Coelho Gesmundo. Congratulations, of course, for winning. And the word is, of course, hydration. Now, for our next word. We're now going to flash our second word on the screen. So here is our second word. We are now just waiting for everyone to comment down the answer. Thank you again so much to our sponsors from Pocari Sweat. Wow, a lot of people are really participating in this one. Now we're just waiting for the confirmation to see who won. The person who won is Pia Elizabeth Angela Bidaure. Congratulations. Our word is women in sports. So congratulations, Pia Elizabeth Angela Bidaure. Now we would look forward to our next word. This is our second to the last. So after this, we have another one. So you guys still have 2 chances to win. This is, of course, our third word. Come on, guys, comment it down. Now we're just waiting for the confirmation to see who won this one. Thank you again, of course, so much to Pocari Sweat for sponsoring again our event. There will be a lot more in the future. Okay, now for the winner of our word right here flashed on the screen is Miss Abby Bidaure. Congratulations, Miss Abby Bidaure. And now for the last word. This is your last chance on winning something from Pocari Sweat. Now for the last word, we're going to flash it in our screen. Congratulations again, Miss Abby Bidaure, for winning the previous word, and now for the last word. This is our last word. Comment down, guys. You may have the chance to win some goodies from Pocari Sweat. Now we're just, of course, waiting for everyone to comment down their answers. And of course, we're just waiting someone from our team to confirm who won this last word. Okay, for our last word, it looks like we have a person who won once again, Miss Pia Elizabeth Angela Bidaure. Congratulations. You really type in fast, huh? You won our last one for Pocari Sweat. So congratulations again to our winners. Let me repeat them. We have Miss Joan Cuello Gesmundo. We have Miss Pia Elizabeth Angela Bidaure for She Won Twice, and we have Miss Abby Bidaure. Okay, again, congratulations to all of our winners. For all of our winners, you have a chance, of course, to get your prizes. All you have to do is to send us a private message so we can coordinate with you on how you will receive the prizes. And that wraps up today's episode. Let us, of course, let us know what you think by answering our feedback form. So we have a feedback form. All you guys need to do is to just answer it so we can be better on our next episodes. So Rise Up, Shape Up is brought to you by the Philippine Sports Commission-Women in Sports. We would like to thank our partner, PAGCOR, and our event sponsor, Pocari Sweat. We'd also like to acknowledge the PSC Board of Commissioners, Chairman William I. Ramirez, Commissioners Arnold Agustin, Ramon Fernandez, Celia Kiram, and Charles Raymond Maxi. Thank you also to the PSC management, its heads and staff, led by Executive Director Guillermo Iroy, the Director of the Philippine Sports Institute, Mark Velasco, and the PSC Communications Office headed by Ms. Malene Bamba. Thank you to our consultant, Marilu Cantancio, for directing the premiere episode of Rise Up, Shape Up. Stay tuned to PSC's Facebook page so you can catch this afternoon's People Sports Conversation at 2 p.m. Rise Up, Shape Up drops we won't air next Wednesday to give way for a webinar on women in sports leadership and coaching seminars. So we will be back on November 11. So turn your notifications on for 11/11 for another exciting production. So remember to also get social with us on Instagram and YouTube. Don't forget to follow us there. Again, I am Chinky Austria. I am your host. Have a good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning.